Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Nicole and today we are talking about 10 interior design rules that you should not follow. These are definitely rules to break. I don't understand why these are still being told to people. Disagree with absolutely every single one of these rules. Maybe you do too. Maybe this is something that you've thought about and couldn't quite put your finger on why it didn't work for you. So let's go ahead and discuss. If you have an interest in interior design or would like to see what's going on with my house as it's being built, go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe. Let's dive into these 10 rules to break. Number 1, I've said it before and I will say it again and I will scream this from the rooftops. You need a pop of color. You do not you do not need a pop of color. First of all, the term just gets under my skin at this point. It makes me so angry because it's something that I've believed in the past wholeheartedly. And before I really started putting intent into everything I did with the house, it just meant that, oh, I need a color, let's go. So I settled on blue, which I have spoken about a couple of times in the past here, but that didn't really help me out at all. It didn't bring any type of cohesion. It didn't look into like what shade of blue. So it just ended up being a little bit messy. By a little bit messy, I mean, it was just ugly and it didn't work. And I think this pop of color concept it doesn't help people. It's a little bit confusing. And if you want a monochromatic home, have a monochromatic home. I feel like people think that monochromatic means black and white, maybe with some shades of gray or beige or cream or something like that. You can do monochrome in any color. It's not really about a lack of color, it's about being more consistent in that color scheme. I don't think anybody's going to look at this room and think, I really wish there were a bright red throw pillow here. Or over here and think, could really use a pop of neon yellow. Or even here when we're looking at a beautiful black and white, and you're not going to go in with a paintbrush and throw, bright purple on the wall. There's no reason to do a lot of these things if you don't want to. And I can't stand it. I hope it goes away. So if you feel like you need a pop of color for no other reason than you feel like you're supposed to have it, you don't have to do it. Steer clear. Adding color can definitely kind of add a breath of fresh air to a space if it's feeling stale. But again, there's just no reason to unless it is intentional, unless there is a real reason to do so. Not just for the fact of, I need to have it because I've heard I'm supposed to. Number 2 is that your house needs to look perfect or staged or just set, essentially. I think, first of all, we put so much pressure on ourselves. Every time somebody comes over, anytime we're entertaining, obviously we want to make sure that we're putting our best face forward, that we're cleaning up, we're tidying up. But this idea that everything needs to be so set and perfect really takes away from the fact that, I live here. I want it to feel like I live here and that it's okay to relax, to be comfortable, to not feel like I can't touch something because I'm going to mess it up. There's something I heard, I believe it was from Denmark, but it was definitely one of the Scandinavian countries. Somebody was going through and they were doing a photo shoot that day and they made sure that their house was looking perfect and ready and set. And when the photographers came in, they kind of messed things up a little. They made it look like somebody maybe had just gotten out of bed. There was flour on the counter. There was some food out with, the knife on the cutting board. And it looked like, there was life there. And at first it made this person feel very like, oh my gosh, it's not looking clean. It's not looking presentable. But something about that story just really resonated with me, that our homes are about our lives here. And I think that we put so much pressure on making sure everything's perfect and everything's crisp and folded exact. And I find myself really gravitating towards a little bit more of just a still put together, still pretty, still clean, but just a more lived in, a little bit more casual without looking messy. It's just something that really resonates with me. And I think that would make people a little bit happier, honestly, just to not have to feel like everything needs to be exactly in place all the time. This is your house. You should feel free to live in it however you need to. I don't ever want to feel like I'm at a point where I can't, sit on my couch or put my feet up or just, again, relax and enjoy. Number 3, you need to stick to one design style. This one drives me nuts as well. I feel like, learning about all of these design styles are so much fun. First of all, it's always nice to see what's out there, what people are doing with it, what people's take on that design style is. But also, if you start to really, resonate with one and you go down that one path, it kind of takes this turn into looking a little bit themed or themey. And that's definitely not a look that I think at least looks great. Mixing in a couple of different design styles, I think, is a great way to approach your home. Now, while there's definitely a line and you don't want to go overboard, I'd say pick 2 styles. You probably want to think about this in like an 80-20 rule, where still one is predominant and that is most of everything, but have those accents, have those other pieces of another design style. I've been doing a little bit of some decor styles explained, and once I get through all of the ones I want to, I do want to have a video of mixing design styles, just because, again, it's a little bit boring, it's a little bit pigeonholed, and it looks too themey when you only put yourself in one style, and you get a little bit rigid about sticking to just one. Number 4 kind of goes along with that in that everything should match. I could not agree less. I want everything to go. I don't want it to match necessarily. I feel like this was, what was that show where they would make people up, what not to wear, that one. I feel like Stacey London, I believe her name was, would always say it doesn't have to match, it just has to go. And absolutely, first of all, in fashion, sure, but here in the home, definitely. If things are so matchy-matchy, it looks a little flat, it looks a little boring, and it looks like you kind of went into a store, you liked, that catalog page, you took that catalog page and you put it in your home. It's not really doing too much for you, for your style, for who you are, for your personality, and it just lacks, I want to say, authenticity. It just seems like you weren't sure what to do, which if you did it intentionally, then of course. I mean, all of these things, should have put this in the front of the video. Everything here is my opinion. If you disagree with these, do what you need to do in your house. So don't take this the wrong way at all. But again, in my opinion, matchy-matchy is just not the way to go. Whether that's the furniture set, whether that's metals, mixing metals is beautiful. I still think that this is going to be a timeless trend that you're going to see forever, and it's going to look great now, 20 years from now, 50 years from now. Mixing metals is beautiful. Same thing with wood tones. Absolutely mix your wood tones. When all of them match, it's again a little bit flat, a little bit boring, or if you're trying to match but you can't get it exact, that's exactly what it looks like, that you tried and just couldn't quite get it right. Mixing in those wood tones gives it this very homey, curated feel that I love. Mix new and vintage. When you have something that's all new, it can seem a little bit sterile, it can seem a little bit just too clean and modern. So adding in some of those older pieces, some vintage, some thrifted, whatever it is, can just really warm up a space and bring in that little bit of life. Mix in your colors, especially if you are going for that pop of color. Having the exact same color over and over again, unless it is kind of that black or white, I feel like that's a little bit different somehow. Interesting. But if you're looking at blues, reds, greens, and it's just that exact same one throughout, it again can just fall a little bit flat. So having some different shades, some different tones can really help liven up a space. I just mentioned trends really briefly, so number 5 is to follow trends. Now, trends can be so much fun. Absolutely love that. It's always nice to see, what's out, what's exciting people, what is really everybody gravitating towards, which can also help you know what you're going to be seeing in stores. So you'll know kind of what to expect when you walk in or you're online shopping. But here's the thing. Trends are expensive. I cannot change my house every season, every year, because what I had in is no longer in, and oh, now we need this shape or this color or that type of print. It's exhausting, and I don't have time for that. I don't have money for that. It is way too pricey, and I think we get a little bit, we can get a little bit too in our heads about needing to be in the now. Just take a breath. If your house is working for you, there is no reason to do that. Number 6 is going to be exactly the opposite. Never follow trends. Now, while I can appreciate that as well, because again, if your home's working for you, there's no reason to change. Trends can be expensive. they are also a little bit fun, and maybe a trend comes up that you love and you just really want to go in on. And there's nothing wrong with that. I think that we have this very dichotomous, yes, trends all the way, be fun, be in the now. You don't want to be out of date. You don't want it to look old. And then on the other side, it's, oh, it's too trendy. You can't always change everything in and out. And there's a happy middle ground here that I don't think people are talking enough about. So I actually did a video on what are the 2022 trends that you will be seeing and how to do that in small ways. Again, if you like something, maybe you want to participate a little bit, but you're not fully invested, or you just don't want to spend that much money because who knows what 2023 is going to bring. This video, which I'll leave a link to right here, is going to be a little bit helpful with just how to participate without going overboard. So again, we're going to find this middle ground here that works for a lot more people, allows you to participate in the ones that you want to without breaking the bank, but again, avoid the ones that maybe don't speak to you. Number 7, you need window treatments. Window treatments are great. Not this. These blinds, vertical shades that I'm looking at right across from me, not those so much. But window treatments can be very beautiful. They can really help soften a space. Maybe your room can really be helped out by a nice pair of curtains that really lengthen that window, make the room look larger, give it that little bit of softness and airiness. Maybe that roller shade or that Roman shade can again add another texture, another layer. And of course, these things provide things like privacy, like blackout, like thermal protection. So there are definitely reasons to have window treatments. However, going to be moving into a home where when you buy a new build home, one of the things that the last time I wasn't really prepared for was that none of the windows had anything. And you walk in and you're like, oh, I didn't think of that. So if you are in that situation or you have windows, maybe you just have a lot of windows in your home, just think through, how are you going to use the space? What am I going to be doing when I'm in this room? What time of day am I usually in here? And that can start helping you think about, maybe you don't need window treatments. Sometimes the best thing you can do is leave them bare and just let that light come in on its own. So before you rush out to, put blinds on every single window, look through all your shades options, look through all your curtains, start trying to, stress about what length, what height you need to hang the curtain rod, take a step back. Evaluate again. How are you going to use the room? What time of day are you usually in there? Do you need privacy? What do you need from the room? And then think through again, how much light do you want to be coming in? Sometimes the best window treatment is no window treatment. Number 8, this is another one that gets me, is to aim for symmetry. You need symmetry. I'm not a big fan. So a lot of our big luxurious stores, like RH, they are all about symmetry, and there is no denying that what they do is beautiful. That being said, asymmetry just speaks to me a little bit more, and I think it gives a little bit more character and interest to your space. Now, symmetry definitely has its place. I do think that some things should be symmetrical, like a bed should have 2 preferably matching nightstands. I think that when we get a little bit too much in the mismatch there, it can look a little bit off, a little bit weird. But any of the decor on top, anything on a sideboard or a console table, I don't think you need to have these things be symmetrical. I've been absolutely loving these pictures. I'll put them up here. I've been seeing them all over Instagram, and they've been showing off-centered paintings over console tables, and I absolutely love that. I always assumed that when I do get into my home, there are a couple places where I do want to hang artwork or mirrors over something like a credenza, a sideboard, a console table, and I always assumed that would go right in the middle. And now it's like, oh, I don't have to do that. I can edge it a little bit this way, which leaves some room for some more tallness and height over here. I just think there are so many ways to think through your space and so many different things that are beautiful to just be stuck in. I have a lamp here, so I need a lamp here. I have something on this side, so I need something on that side. Typically some type of balance. So how I spoke about, it doesn't have to match, it just has to go. It's kind of that same idea. It doesn't have to be exact. It just needs to work. I feel like a lot of people are really into symmetry, so don't hate me. Number 9, near and dear to my heart, no faux plants. I can't keep a plant alive. I've tried a lot and I'm really bad at it, and I feel so bad every time I bring a new plant home and I'm like, I'm going to take care of you. You are going to be loved. You are going to be nurtured. And it has not worked out yet. Now, will I continue to buy real plants? Absolutely. I'm going to get better, I promise. But it's difficult, especially if you're in a place that doesn't get sunlight. Maybe you really want a certain plant in a room, but it only gets very direct, bright sunlight, or vice versa. You have to think through these things. Plants can be expensive, they can be temperamental. There's a couple different types that I really like and I definitely want to give a try. But it's like, how much water does this one need? How much light? Do I need to rotate it? Are you too close to the window? Are you too far? This guy is going to look like this forever. It's not gonna die. I like that a lot. I don't have to water it. I don't have to worry about it. Plus, there are some really great faux plants. I am all about some of the faux foliage. You just want to be a little bit discerning about what it is that you do get. Typically things like silk flowers are going to look a little bit more noticeable that they're fake, a little bit cheaper looking. So if you are going faux, I would definitely stick towards ones that look better. Something like the waxier plants, the grass plants, any type of succulent branches, as long as they're done well. So if you can, pick them up, look through them, see how they look up close, see how they look from, you know, whatever distance it is you would be viewing it in your home. So be picky, but if you're like me and you just cannot keep a plant alive, faux, there's nothing wrong with it. Last up, number 10, you can't do that. It's not correct. There are rules for absolutely everything. Interior design is no different. Now, some rules I agree with much more than others. Obviously, this is a list of the ones that I don't. But if you're in your home and you're decorating something, you're bringing in furniture, you're trying to figure out what works for you and you love it, and you go online, you read an article, you go on YouTube, and somebody says, you cannot mix these styles, you cannot do X, Y, and Z, but you like it? Who cares? I was watching a video the other day about which design styles you can absolutely never mix, and I have never disagreed with her more, and this is somebody I definitely love to watch. I felt so bad, but if it works for you and you love it, there's nothing wrong with it. So yes, there are some things that maybe are better to follow just for a little bit of a cohesive practice. So things like, I would try to stay away from a rug that's too small. I would try to stay away from hanging curtains that are too short, things like that. But it's your home. All of these people, they're not coming into your home. You live there. So just make sure that at the end of the day, if you did it with intent and you love it, it's perfect. So those are my 10 design rules to break. These are the ones that you do not need to listen to. Did I miss any? Do you disagree with me on any of these? Let me know in the comment section below. Love to get your opinion on it. That wraps everything up for this week. I do hope that you enjoyed. If you did, go ahead again, give this video a like. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Can't wait to see you in the next one. Until next time, bye.